y'all? Marvin here from Blacktop Banter. Really quick, just wanted to talk about the 800 pavement network. As you can see, we have some lettering there, lettering on our other truck over there, lettering on this truck here. They all say 1-800-Blacktop. We've been using the 1-800-Blacktop number here for the last couple of years. It's really been exceptional for us as far as making things click with our branding, and now that we're in another state, those area codes are together. It's worked out fantastically for us. The other thing is that 800 Pavement Network has other advantages. There's group discounts on a lot of the products and materials that we use within our industry. We're part of over 300 different, see that one? Over 300 different contractors that are now using these numbers all over the country. That's combined over $2 billion in gross profits. So if you've been thinking about it or you're curious about it and you're like, well, oh, should I or shouldn't I? DM me, message me, or reach out to 800 Pavement Network. You can find them online through their website. You can call 1-800-PAVEMENT and you'll get them as well. They'd be happy to run you through kind of the advantages and everything else that we've been taking advantage of here at Wiscote and Dubuque Asphalt Maintenance, and how it can benefit you as well. Once again, if you're curious about it at all, you can always DM me. So yeah, 1-800-Blacktop. You can DM me or message me or email me through the podcast or Wiscote or wherever as well. I would love to talk to you about how it has helped us. Everybody, welcome back. It's Blacktop Banter, episode 69, and I'm with Rick Gramoll. Rick, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, my friend, and let these people know where you're at, what you do?
Sure, man. Well, first off, I appreciate you having me on. Very excited to spend a little time with you. I love these. I love podcasts. You know,
yeah,
being able to just actually have a conversation is awesome. So,
cool.
Yeah, so I'm Rick Gramoll, the Director of Sales and Marketing at MBW. Been with the company actually 9 years today.
Dang, really?
Yeah.
Today is the 9-year anniversary. I'll have to get on LinkedIn and be like, happy work anniversary or whatever they say. Work anniversary. 9 years, man. Has time flown?
It had, yeah. I was just telling my wife the other day, I'm like, wow, it doesn't feel like it's been 9 years. You know, I mean, a few for sure, but
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, well, I think that means probably that you have some staying power and that you're an asset. If you've been there for 9 years, like that's a pretty crazy time, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I started on our utility side, which is kind of a separate segment of products that are designed specifically for natural gas distributors. Like for us up here in the cheese state, it'd be like We Energies.
Oh, okay. We Energies, Alliant, like that kind of those kind of companies. Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of products? What kind of products did you make for them?
So it's so a couple of them are pneumatic excavation, ergonomic tamping tools, and then there's one called the vapor extraction unit that we actually manufacture in conjunction with Atmos Energy down in Texas. Which basically there's a bunch of probes that go in the ground and sucks the natural gas out after leaks and then helps pinpoint where the leak is. It does it completely safely as well. So it's a pretty good unit for us. You know, it definitely has had a very large impact on the gas industry as far as, you know, when all of a sudden a leak happens, what do you do?
Dude, right? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Like I've seen like at the trade shows like MBW stuff, but I did not know that machine was made and manufactured and that it existed and what it was for. I totally understand that it's an important machine. You know, as soon as you said that, it's like, oh yeah, that if there is a machine that does that, it would be important.
Yeah.
So then you started out on that side and then we slowly moved along, right?
Yeah.
Or quickly moved along.
Yeah, kind of, I guess. So I spent about 3+ years on that side, and then we brought a gentleman on who's actually one of my close friends. So he's the one managing it now, and I switched over to our construction side, handled the Midwest, which I really enjoyed. A lot of really good dealers of ours, really good relationships that we have up here. So that was exciting for me. And then But maybe a little over, I always wanted to say 2 years, but that's like right when COVID hit. And so it's
Yeah.
like this weird blurry, it just feels like 2 years wasn't 2 years. I don't,
Yeah.
I think it was three something years since I transitioned into this role. Been kind of a blur. But yeah, so now I take care of all the not I mean I work with all of our regional sales managers and our
Okay.
independent reps out in the field. We have a great group of salespeople, that are from the factory, and then our independent rep network is phenomenal. They really do a great job for us, and so I manage. I work with all of them, and then our marketing department, who Heather, and then
Yep.
we add on a marketing analyst, Tiffany, just recently within the past couple months. So it's been really good. I mean, we kind of have that Heather creative side, and then Tiffany brings more of the analytical side. So really growing our presence on social
Yeah.
media and things like that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I think it has grown like quite a bit. Like it's out there. Like everybody is starting to realize that MBW is a household name, and especially in our industry.
yeah,
So it's good. And not only do we post videos using our MBW stuff, but I've seen other contractors now posting videos using their MBW equipment things, and never, ever, ever is there a bad thing said about their MBW equipment. And some of these guys are putting it through its paces, well, a lot more than what we are, right? And you can look at them and you're like, dang, man, that thing has been through some battles, but they're still using it, still going.
yeah.
So tell us a little bit of, go ahead. I didn't want
I
to
was
cut
gonna
you.
say contractors are not easy on their equipment, man. That's
Oh
that's how we
man.
build our stuff. We build it knowing full well that it's gonna get used and abused.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can almost guarantee you a strap has broke and an MBW has came off of a truck bed at some point, or they tried to lift it up and it fell back down in one way or another. But we've flopped ours all over the place, and the tank's still holding up just fine. The motor runs just fine. She works and moves just fine. We can't have anything. We don't have anything bad to say about ours.
Great.
Let's kind of talk about MBW. Like they don't just make machines that suck gas out of the ground and plate compactors, right?
Right.
So what kind of stuff do we do? I know I've seen some pretty bad like float machines too that you guys make on the concrete side.
Yeah, for sure. So we got our start in compaction, 100%. So the two guys that actually founded MBW back in 1967, their names were Helmut Moss and Frank Malter Sr. Um, were Wacker's employee 1 and 2 in the United States. So they actually founded the subsidiary of Wacker Corporation before they were Wacker Neuson in Hartford, Wisconsin. Got it up and going, and then eventually over several years they decided they were going to split off and start their own deal. So you have the German engineer and the American sales guy, wouldn't you
Yeah.
know, came together. And yeah, they started in Slinger, Wisconsin, which is still where we are headquartered. And yeah, basically the Helmut would design the equipment, they'd get it built up, and then Frank Sr. would throw it in the back of his station wagon at the time
And go
drive,
sell.
drive as far as he needed to, and till he can get them all sold, and
Dang,
head on
man.
home and do the same thing over again.
Dang, man. That's crazy to think about that story, that they
Yeah,
actually did it that way. They actually built the machines, put them in the back, and went and sold them, and then just kept repeating the process.
that's it, man. Yeah, so
Dude.
that's up in Wisconsin, a lot of manufacturing. There's a lot of German ancestry up here as well. So we're really fortunate that those two gentlemen happen to cross paths, and that's kind of why I'm sitting here chatting with you today, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah,
You really did. Those two guys doing that have us here today, which is kind of
yeah,
crazy, I guess. Cool. I guess that's cool. Be a little segment, a little tangent in history of MBW. I'll take that today.
yeah. So
Cool.
they started that, the compaction, doing that with compaction. And then about 40 or so years ago, they branched off into concrete finishing. So the whole compaction side is, what we've been talking about, the asphalt plates, the ground plates, we call them rammers, but a lot of people call them jumping jacks.
Yep.
We have separates, kind of within that compaction family. We have some skid steer rollers, smooth and padded. And we also have a mini excavator roller that's it's kind of a knuckle, so it's a lot of trench work and utility work like that.
Okay.
And when we started the concrete line, it really was it was really a lot of the finishing. So trowels, walk behind trowels are big. They've come a long way. Actually, there's one of my RSMs just pointed out a picture. He's like, "Whoa, do you see how crazy that trowel is? There's like no protection over those blades." I'm like, "Yeah, that's not. We can't do that."
Well, they didn't really, it wasn't a priority back then.
Right.
Finishing the job and getting paid, I guess, was top priority back then.
That's it, man. So yeah, we started doing that. Right now we have a whole line of walk behind trowels, 2-footers, 3-footers, 4-footers. We have wet screeds, both gas and battery. We actually just released one that's powered by the Milwaukee M18 red lithium 12 amp hour high out. Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. And we have a truss screed section, which is great for bridge decks, flat work, pole barns, stuff like that, which is going to be, your wet screed walk behind is going to be like up to about 18 feet. Yeah. Whereas the truss screed can go like 30, 40, 50, 60 plus feet away. So like if you've ever seen like those big, like the big outside hockey rinks kind of thing. Yep. A lot of times they'll use those truss screed sections to finish that
all in one pull. They run it the span across there and then fire it up and let it do it all in one pull across there.
Yeah, they can crown it. So like obviously, when it's frozen, you want it to freeze, but when it's not, you want it to run off. So it's,
dude, that's quite an array from just making plate compactors 20 years before that.
Yeah. And we have a ride on trowel as well, which is a 5-footer. It's really has the product line it's grown and contracted and grown. And what we focus on is really providing a better job site experience. So when we're building equipment that is part of our lineup right now, or when we're in the process of designing, engineering, developing new products, that is our mindset. We're thinking about how is this different, and how can we improve the overall experience that asphalt guys, concrete guys, just general contractors, how can we improve their experience on the job site? And that's where we focus on, and we live in that compaction, concrete, and utility world.
Well, to kind of parlay off of that, we use the AP 2000, right? Yeah. So when we get into like our world here in the asphalt realm, MBW has a pretty good lineup of what they're going for, and we can kind of touch on that, and then we'll come back and circle around to the AP 2000 if you want to. So let's kind of talk about that array of what people can expect when we talk about asphalt compaction or base compaction or whatever with the plate compactor lineup.
Yeah, for sure. So the 2000, I'll kind of start there and work back and then go a little forward. The 2000 is essentially kind of the same plate that we've been building for the last 55 years. Same engineering. It's certainly got a few facelifts across years, but yeah, we use a different methodology behind what we're trying to accomplish, especially with compaction and with asphalt. So when we're focusing on like laying the base, right? I just had a webinar earlier this week, and I'm like, listen, I'm a fat kid at heart. I always talk about cake, right? You're building the cake, you gotta use the good ingredients, and you got to build the bottom up. So yeah, when it comes to how we do it, we focus a lot on amplitude, which is kind of where the rubber meets the road, where you're factoring in the weight of the machine, the output, and kind of everything, centrifugal force, all that comes together to give you your amplitude. And when we look at that, we have the highest amplitude that's in the industry, in competitive units. So what that means is we're getting more output on our units than competitive plates that are out in the industry. So, which is great. But when we were really looking at the asphalt aspect of it, you can't just go rushing through, dive headfirst into it. We took that ground plate and sent it out with a water tank, to asphalt contractors across the country. And a lot of the feedback came back that it's bulldozing the asphalt.
Yeah.
So when we look at our compaction lineup, the AP 2000 is the only asphalt plate in the industry that's designed specifically for asphalt. It does have a water tank, which a lot of our competitors do, but we don't just take a ground plate and put a water tank on it. We actually literally have a whole different pulley system that we turn that exciter a little bit slower so it glides more smoothly across the asphalt. So you're not bulldozing it and you're getting that finish that you want.
Yeah. Yeah. You notice it. We've noticed it because we had a competitor's plate compactor, right? We still do, but we don't, I mean, I'm seriously not plugging MBW, but we don't use it anymore. We only use the MBW most of the time for everything we do because it just makes it easy. It makes it, we can have guys that are kind of lesser experienced run it, and they're not mashing sides down. They're not bulldozing, even when they're turning. They're not tufting it up very bad. So it does make that aspect of it easier. And it is noticeable when you are moving the plate around compared to some other ones that it does have a smoother glide and it's less impactful on the finish of the asphalt.
Yeah, for sure. And so that's really the mainstay of our lineup. It marries up really well with weight and output. The competitive units out there, they're somewhere between 30 to 40 pounds heavier than we are, but we're getting more output out of our unit. So that's really why do you need to have a heavier unit if you can get more out of a lighter one? That's
right.
That's why we all graduated to bigger cell phones, right? It's like,
yeah, of course.
Technology is there and then it gets smaller and bigger. And but yeah, I mean, the if you can get more out of something, without having to have the additional weight, I guess that's the parallels. They got bigger, but they got lighter.
The phones, yeah, for real. Yeah, it does make a difference because it doesn't mar the asphalt as much because of that heavy weight. You're not twisting as much weight in one spot. Similar to if you twisted your foot in gravel and then a kid twists their foot in gravel. Like obviously, because you're more weight, it's going to make a bigger mar mark. That's what we've noticed with our MBW with the AP versus the other ones, is that when we turn and move, it's not as heavy and impactful as it is as far as the finishes and things like that. And it compacts just as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that's, there was a lot of testing that went into that. So we certainly appreciate that feedback. And we do have, so the 2000 is kind of, like I said, the mainstay. We do have an AP and a GP 18, 18-inch plate, a 15 and a 12. So it kind of steps its way up. A lot of guys will use the 12s for like footings or smaller areas or landscaping when they're putting down retaining walls. And then we go bigger as well. So we have the 3550, and that's offered it's a little bit of a larger plate. And then we go to the 5800, which is not for asphalt at all. It's just specifically a ground plate. And one of our RSMs is nicknamed it Beast Mode because it's the heaviest, fastest forward moving plate in the industry. It's a hoss. So
you guys ever just smash stuff with them?
Yeah, I mean, we were Heather and I we spitballed a couple ideas on some creative little.
I'm gonna do some of those videos with ours. Like I thought, claymations, yeah. And then I wanted to do one with food. Like I wanted to do like something like off screen. You didn't see the MBW coming, and you had like a really nice cake or a souffle or something, and then it just goes and just mashes it over, and then at the end you pan up and you can see like a flattened version of whatever the heck it was. But I always wondered that, like, for testing. Yeah. Yeah, I always wondered that for testing, if they're like, dude, it's huge, let's go smash some crap, like, oh, okay. So then we roll out and do it. I always thought about that with the big drum rollers too. We're like, oh, let's go smash some stuff and see what happens. Yeah. I listen, man, if MBW needs R&D, I'm the guy, because there's a lot of stuff I wonder what it would be like if it got smashed. So after we transition, thank God, from my tangent, into MBW, we've noticed, right, that MBW's presence in social has started to grow. And then not only that, but the attention, like with the AP, the attention to it being an asphalt specific plate compactor. I'd have to imagine that that's probably the tip of the spear on a transition to what's coming up in the future for MBW. So are there projects like that as well that are coming up that are like specifically geared towards a certain trade or a certain aspect, or what is coming up down the line for MBW?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's some things I can share with you and some things that
I love it. That's my favorite answer of all time. Whenever I ask a question, that's my favorite answer.
if you want to swing on by the factory, I'll walk you through and show you some things hands on. But
okay, that sounds good. I'll take you up on that. I promise. Yeah, cool.
But we're looking at some refresh. You know, as we have products out there in the industry, we get feedback from, you know, from our dealers and from contractors, like, oh, it'd be really nice if it had this, or if it'd be, can you do this to it? Can we move this handle up? Or so as we go through our product line, we do a lot of refreshes. So we're doing some refreshes to a few different products that we have. We have a couple pieces that we've relied on some outside partners that we're trying to maybe bring in-house. We do have I mentioned that M18 wet screed that we're using, and we have some interesting things that we're going to be rolling out here probably toward the end of the year into next year. More for on the concrete side, which is going to be really exciting. But and then we have some utility products as well. There's some other pieces that we're working with a company called GTI out of Illinois, and they have this big leak field that we've been working on this project with them for a while.
So it's not, yeah, it's not stagnant. Like you guys are gonna keep going forward, and I like that. The fact that you're like, some of the stuff I can tell you and stuff can't. That's exciting every single time, because that means that in the future, when I ask that question, there's going to be new stuff, and then there's going to be, again, hey, there's stuff I can't tell you too. Like we can't let the cat out of the bag yet. That means that that's innovation right there at the helm, and that's what I like.
Yeah, for sure. We just had there was actually a gentleman that came in a few weeks back with with kind of a tool to show off, which was really cool. I don't know if I can talk about it, but it was you know, it was like, wow, that's actually really innovative. And so yeah, I mean, that's really, you know, who we are when we're looking at innovative bulletproof equipment. You know, it needs to be something that's interesting. We're not trying to just be a me too. You know, we certainly want to have the features of what, you know, contractors need in a piece of equipment. But we'd like to be able to hit those marks plus, you know, some additions.
Some new ones. Yeah, I do have one recommendation, like a cup holder on the AP 2000 right on the handle. Like,
yeah,
you know, that way we don't have to worry about being thirsty or anything. I'll have like just, you know, solo cup or something out there, plate compact, and I'm sure that's in the works. You know, I won't have to take all the credit for it. I'm sure that's in the works.
And trowels and on plates. Yeah,
yeah, see if we can make that happen. So, you know, when we've been talking about your presence, real quick, the social media of your guys is on Instagram is fantastic. It's always kept up really well. Everything is put together really perfect. That is at MBW_Inc. Correct. I believe that's correct, right? Yeah. So you've had like, and what's the website? So people can go to the website and look at the line.
www.mbw.com.
Oh, easy, dude. Super.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. 9 letters, and we're good to go. Cool. And 2 dots. 9 letters and 2 dots.
Yeah.
All right. So since this, like all this time you've been there, 9 years now, you've seen every side, every aspect of it. When it comes to like accepting, I don't want to say criticism, but insights on, hey man, we could change this, we could do this, we could do whatever. What is some advice on that aspect of it when people are coming up to you and they're like, hey, we want to change this, or hey, we would like it like this? Do you guys, what is some advice you have for accepting that kind of stuff? Because not a lot of people, you know, you guys are spending hours, time, R&D, everybody's designing, and then all of a sudden people come up and they're like, well, this is wrong about it. Like, what is some advice you have on that kind of stuff, accepting and moving on and doing with that kind of critique?
Yeah, for sure. We'd love to roll out a piece of equipment and everybody just completely love it. And that's what we're aiming for when we're,
Yeah.
developing and releasing. And unfortunately, it's not 100% possible. There's obviously going to be people out there that are like, oh, well, I love it, but I don't like that orange.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Minnesota, I'd love it to be purple and yellow. Or,
Yeah.
you're always going to have that. And what we try to sift through is like, if somebody makes a comment, it's like, all right, we take time, vet it. Is that really true? And then if it is, try to see how many other contractors are having experiences like this.
Yeah.
It turns out to be just an overall positive change. We just, dive right in. It just makes good sense to do it. But you certainly got to be open to it. You got to have the team that we have at MBW is phenomenal. When we come back, it's that parallel between sales and engineering. When we come back with feedback, engineering is always like, well, we got to ask this, and they kind of help keep us honest, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
The facts, figure it out, and a lot of it is just taking a step back, looking at it, and sometimes it's a small comment. A while back we changed the level on our 2000 series plate of the handle. We raised it up. I wanted to say it was only a couple degrees, but it ended up having like a couple inch difference.
Yep.
And so what that ended up doing was, when you're pushing down to turn or to climb, depending upon your situation,
Yep.
you didn't have to push down quite as far, which was like, it's got some feedback from a contractor that was local, and he's like, hey, and he showed me, and so I went back to engineering and I talked about it with some of the people on the sales team, and they discussed it, and all right, cool. Let's figure out when we're going to make this change effective and just make it. It literally a couple degrees, and it provided a better overall job site experience. And it was, so that's the exciting part about our team, is that we're open to some of these criticisms or product suggestions, and we really do try to take our time and look at it and make those changes if it really is going to be a better experience.
Yeah. And I think that's a major key for longevity in some of these companies nowadays, because anybody can get on any social media platform, comment, and say what's going on at any moment. And you will have some of these companies where they're set in their ways, and their piece of equipment has been modified by the contractor 5 or 6 times to get it to fit exactly how they like it and they're comfortable with it. And then you have companies like MBW where they're like, oh yeah, we just make that slight change, we got some leverage, we're good to go. And you don't have people out there welding tabs on or boring holes in to try to fit something and modify something and make it. And I think that's a testament to, hey, we're here, we're listening, tell us what you think, we'll make the changes, we'll see what's going. I understand it's not easy to hit that market, like, of how are we going to make the majority of the people happy? You know what I mean? Like, that's a hard one to hit, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, that's what we aim at, but we know it's unachievable, right? There's with products, everybody has their own fit and feel. I mean, I may like a specific, look at trucks, right? There's a reason why heavy, there's all these different ones, because you have these guys and gals out there that are dialed into that brand, and that's just their brand.
But all of them pull boats, right? All of them pull boats. Yeah, all of them pull seal right trailers. All of them pull campers. Like, they all do what they're supposed to do, and ultimately that's the main thing, honestly. And which one are you most comfortable with? And I think that you guys are hitting the nail on the head with that thing, man. Because we love ours. Obviously, if there was anything to change, we would, but there isn't. And the alternative is either an old one that we don't really like, or a hand tamp. And nobody likes to hand tamp anything around here. Listen, man, it's a little exercise. I tried like getting them to do it. Nah, we'll just go ahead and bring out the MBW, I guess.
It's not fun.
Especially in the weather we've been having. It's definitely not fun, man.
I mean, you're feeling it for sure.
It's brutal. Brutal.
To your point, a lot of this stuff is asking the questions. And I always subscribe to the methodology, like, listen, I can't grow and we can't grow our product line as a company unless we get real, true, honest feedback. And if we rolled something out that we just completely missed on, listen, you got to tell us. We can change, we can improve, we can get better. But we have to continue to ask those questions, and that's really what we do. Is we try to ask the questions and get that feedback, better, worse, indifferent. Got to have it so we can try to grow and improve.
Yeah. And it's what I like is really cool about MBW is it's not so massive that you can't reach the people that it matters to make those decisions.
For
right.
sure.
It's like we are working closely with us, everybody there, especially on the social media game as well. I know that if we comment or DM or email or something, that it is going to fall on some ears that are listening. And it doesn't always happen at some bigger companies like that. And, but it is what it is. I get it. It's a lot easier just to keep things rolling the way they are and not really pay attention to a few people. But when we do get paid attention to, it makes a huge difference. So we appreciate that as well.
Yeah, for sure. And, our team, because we have such a great team, it makes it easy to make some of those changes and improvements, people being open-minded and really trying to grow. And while I'd love to take all the credit for our social media, I cannot. That is all of my marketing team. Heather Hughes does a phenomenal job, and Tiffany Wren, who just came on board, she's starting to jump into it too, and she's really helped with ideas and things like that. And they've done a phenomenal job. Got to give all the credit to them. They've really killed it. And
yeah, they know their stuff, dude. And it's necessary. I just got off a conversation with somebody. It is necessary nowadays, that social media marketing and influencer marketing, that kind of stuff. It is necessary for your business to grow and stay viable. That's where the attention is. So you might as well go there. So yeah, totally cool, dude. And honestly, it's been a great conversation with you, man. It's totally interesting about the MBW stuff. I am going to take you up on that and come look, because I know for a fact there's some old plate compactors from the 60s somewhere that I want to look at. Is that right?
We have in our conference room, we're not exactly sure, but it's one of the first 3 that we ever made.
Dang. Oh my gosh.
Service area, we have a whole rack of these old rammers that we've collected different iterations of. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really cool, the historic pieces of equipment that we have. And yeah, I agree, man. I appreciate you having me. It's been a great conversation for sure.
Cool. All right. I'm going to make that happen, and I'll make the video and we'll show some of those older ones too. Cause I love that stuff, dude. I love seeing where it started and where it's at now, and putting them side by side and just being like, dang.
Too.
Oh yeah. But do not do that with my internet videos. Do not go look at the old, very first ones. Whatever anyone does, do not go look at those ones. They're there. That doesn't mean that they should be looked at or used or anything anymore. So
once every 5 or 10 years, or see how far you've come,
Oh, dude. And then I look at this thing and I'm like, man, that got wore out. Well, it is what it is, man. Well, I know. Hey, yeah, there used to be stuff up there. I can still remember what it's kind of like, but not very much. Before I let you go, I want to do a pod deck with you, my friend. We'll get a really good question. We'll get going here. You never know what's going to come out of this thing. Surprisingly, there are some that I get that like are repeats, and I wonder, because there's like 50 or 60 cards in here, how that happens. But I'm just going to cut one and we're going to go for it, and we'll see what happens. I have asked this one before, but it's a good one. It says, if you were reincarnated as a famous landmark, which would it be?
Ooh, a great question.
What does Rick stand for? What good landmark would it be?
Oh, wow. Like my immediate gut reaction of like right away was the Washington Monument, but I don't know 100%. That was just like gut.
That's all right. That's how it should be. You should go with the gut. Mine was the old Oscar Mayer plant in Madison. So, I don't know if it's historical to everybody, but it's historical to me, man. So
Uncle drove the Wienermobile when he
was really?
Yeah.
Did you get to hang out with it and stuff when he was there?
Well, I don't know if I was born yet when it
yeah. I mean, they used to give out little whistles and stuff for the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Man, I did too. I had some. I kind of miss it a little bit. I mean, it's still around, but it's not as around as often as it used to be. Gas. Can you imagine gas prices with that thing, dude?
Ooh, yeah.
You like
today, and I was like, wow, that's
Yeah, they're gonna have to include that in the marketing budget just to fuel that sucker up nowadays. Well, very cool, my friend. Rick, thank you so much for joining us today, man. It was a blast. I love hearing about the history of MBW and what they got coming down the line. Please, for sure, join us again sometime, especially when we see some new stuff coming out. And we will, I'll pop over there and we'll take a look and see what's going on. Once again, my friend, I really appreciate you being on here.
Marvin, thank you. I think it's been awesome. I appreciate just sitting here and chit chatting with you. And yeah, let's stop on over anytime you want.
Sounds like a plan, my man.
Yeah.
All right, for myself and for Rick and for MBW, this is episode 69 of Blacktop Banter, where we speak asphalt, and they also speak asphalt at MBW. They're making equipment specifically for us. And as always, we want you to seal it, pave it, stripe it, and kill it. Peace.